We have been doing a series on expenses for full-time RV life, and this, I believe, is the last video in this series, and this is entitled, Don't Forget These.
Things you might not have thought about.
Yep.
Some other things you might not have thought about.
So let's go with this one, propane. Now, I know that nowadays, not all vehicles have propane. A lot of them go in all electric, with the aqua hot systems and all that. But if your RV requires propane for water heater, water heating, whatever, cooking, gas stoves, you're going to have to buy propane every now and then.
And typically that's not going to be a big deal. That's not a bank breaker unless you decide to winter up north or somewhere where it gets freezing cold and your only alternative is to use your propane furnace. That will go through some propane.
Now the next one I'm going to bring up is a big one. To me, it's a big one. It's called connectivity, which is her biggest frustration, I think, in the camping RV full-timing world is, can I get connected to the internet? We have tried.
Let me tell you why that's a big deal. So maybe you're thinking about RV life and maybe you're thinking, oh, I'll start a YouTube channel and I'll share my adventures and RV life.
Or my phone will work.
Yeah.
It works here at my house.
Well, we learned very quickly, the first stop we made, actually, we couldn't even communicate with our family for about a week because we headed off because I didn't know about research. I didn't think about researching, is there internet service there? We had no service there.
We had to walk out on a levee.
Yeah.
We had to hike.
Yes. Blackwater Forest area in Florida, right there near the Alabama line. Connectivity. If you are just going to be on your phone, maybe texting or calling, it may or may not work. It may not be a big deal for you. I think you can do most things you like to do usually, right?
Most things, yeah.
Because, and I do check. I check now, and I do that through our RV Life Pro subscription to see what other RVers have said. But getting back to what you need it for, if you're going to be working or if you want to FaceTime the grandkids, or if you are uploading videos, you have to have better service. So that's why he said it's all me. If you watched any of our videos, you'll hear me fuss about, even if a place is supposed to have good service, it's not stellar.
Yeah, she can upload a video in 1 hour or 3 days.
Yes. Or have to go sit up at the ranger station in the middle of the night to book a campsite.
So connectivity is something. You may just have one provider. You may wind up thinking about 2 providers, 3 providers, all the providers, just depends on what you're going to need.
And do your homework.
Yeah.
Do your homework. Because even if you don't do all those things, you still need to make reservations or change reservations. We've had that happen where we're like, okay, I need to fix this right now because something came up and couldn't get online. Had to drive to the McDonald's miles away. So connectivity is going to depend on what you need. But there's a cost for every single provider that you add. And we just added Starlink.
So another topic will be memberships. Do you need a membership? Do you not need a membership? Do you want to join this club? Do you not want to join this club? There are subscriptions out. I'm old, so I think prescription.
Yeah.
So you can have like Thousand Trails, Good Sam, Harvest Host, Passport America.
Oh, that's
even Ring phone.
Well, yeah. If you have any kind of camera, maybe you have a Ring subscription. So it's subscriptions and memberships. So anything that all those little tiny things that add up. Of course, Thousand Trails is not a tiny thing.
No.
But whatever membership that you have, depending on the cost, it's plus, plus, plus. And the question to ask yourself is, will I be able to recoup this fee that I am spending? RV Life Pro. And I'll talk about that in a minute. That is one that we could not live without. We did for the first 6 months we were out, and it was absolutely scary and horrific. So I'll tell you all about how that helps us, but that's a subscription that you pay for once a year. It's not a bank breaker. Okay, so a little bit more about RV Life Pro. That is a subscription that you buy. It's online, and you can plan all your travels with that, and you will save your trips. And it has all the campgrounds and details, costs. You can filter by the type of campground that you want. If we just want to go to Army Corps parks, we can filter and only look at Army Corps parks. We can also see, hey, we really want to go to Minnesota this year. Can we make it there? So I did a little tour of RV Live Pro, and you can check it out up here. Just an overview. I will be doing a more in-depth video to show how I actually plan our trips, but we couldn't live without it. It's more than just a GPS. It's more than just a trip planner. It does a lot of things. So that's just RV Life Pro in a nutshell. But one thing it does, talking about connectivity, is you can go into the reviews if you have a subscription, and you can see the speed tests that people have done, so that I know that, hey, Verizon is really well here. And I'm going to throw one caveat in there. Campgrounds that are spread out sometimes over here. So look at you can see the site number. It's site number 24, really good service. Somebody at site number 1 might say, it's awful here. So it also depends on where you are in the campground, and some are just generic. So, but it's another tool to see, will I be able to go online here at this campground at this particular spot? And if you use our code, which is down below, we are affiliates of RV Live Pro, and you can save 25% off your subscription for the first year only. All the details are down below, and we do get a small fee, a small commission, if you do decide to purchase using our link. And if you do, we thank you.
It's under 100. It's not a bank
the cost is under. The cost, varies every year. So the sooner you get in, the sooner you can get in on a good cost. But it's, I think it's around $65 right now. But I think that was the last time. But anyway, it is very reasonable, and it's one way when we go to travel, we look and see what does RV Trip Wizard say, because we have our dimensions of our RV, and it will not route us, and has not routed us, any place that's not going to be safe for our RV. And then we use Google on our phones just as a quick way, but you also can use RV Trip Wizard to do that too. RV Life Pro, it's called. So it keeps you from getting in trouble if you have a high RV or just traveling some crazy road that Google might send you down.
Okay, another thing you're going to encounter along your travels are, let's say, fees. Are you at a park where they're going to charge you to launch your kayak? Are you in a state which requires you to have a decal on your kayak, even if you're out of state, to launch your kayak into one of their bodies of water?
Mm-hmm.
We have encountered that.
Yes.
Now, if you're like me and you like to fish, every state you go to, that's a different fishing license you have to purchase. Whether it's even a 3-day pass or sometimes a year pass is just a few dollars more than a 3-day or a week pass.
And some of those are not cheap. Some of them are very reasonable. Like, thank you for visiting our state. Yes, you can fish for this little bit of money.
Yeah.
And some are, Mr. D says, I'm just not going to fish here.
It's not worth it. Yeah. Another thing you might have to purchase or might think about purchase is state park passes. If they have a daily entrance fee and you're going to be there for, say, a week or two at that park, it may behoove you just to go ahead and buy the park pass, save the parking fees every day, which will probably add up to more than what you paid for the pass.
Depending on the state.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to pay one fee
to
get in. Other states, it costs more. So you just have to look and see which is cheaper, or if you're going to be there for a while and have several reservations in that state, it might be worth it to just go ahead and get a park pass.
Yeah, like if it's a state you do a lot of camping in, just go ahead and buy a pass and get your discount for the pass. And,
right. We do that in Georgia because they do charge a parking fee. It is one time with once you enter the park, and if you're camping there, but we are there so much that we just keep buying one.
Right.
It's helpful. And they have all different tiers. So you just have to check out the state that you're going in, because I tried to look and they're all over the place.
Another thing would be, this can be a lot, it can be a little, depending on your lifestyle, your camping style, whatever you want. Fun, let's call it fun. Eating out, tours, events, museums, tourist spots, random shopping.
Were you pointing at me?
Stuff like that. Do we need a sweatshirt at every park we go to?
Hey,
Things
we
like that.
we developed a practice now. I don't know. You might want to think about this if you're budget conscious. This shirt is from Wait, where is it from?
I don't know. Mine's from Dale Hollow.
This shirt is from Jack Hill State Park in Georgia. But we are like, this is so cool. Look at these T-shirts. So we started buying T-shirts if we like them. If we're some of them are like, we don't really care. So we have all these T-shirts. But it's so cool because it's like, you know, my favorite. Like I have Fort Boonesboro is a good one. And anyway, so
it's like when I'm sitting in the living room and I hear from the bedroom, like, I don't have enough room to put this in there anymore.
Well, we did. Yeah. So we use that practice with caution, but we do enjoy because we love Dale Hollow in Kentucky. That's awesome.
Or Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, it is in Tennessee too. And we
It's
also,
in both.
Yeah. Jack Hill State Park is in Georgia. We really liked that state park. It's not far from Florida. But anyway, that's a little aside. These are all discretionary things. So if you want to do it, you could. You don't have to do it.
I'll tell you one thing, if you're traveling the country and you're going to stop and visit with family, better budget that in.
There might be more eating out, more driving, more going out, entertainment. So
there you go.
But it's all good.
But you know, if you're sitting to sticks and bricks, you're going to go out to eat, maybe go to movies, stuff like that anyway. So
true.
There you go.
And how cool is it to be somewhere where you can go do a cave tour?
Yeah.
I mean, we have caves here in Florida. I just went on a cave tour here in Florida. So, or a riverboat ride, or things, you know. Train ride. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun in Colorado. So there is so much to do when you're traveling the country. Just go for it if you can. But it is a consideration. This next one is for seniors or really anybody. But we know a lot of retirees watch our channel, or people who are looking towards retirement, maybe RV life in retirement, but know where your discounts are. We didn't know that when we first started off, so we were not knowledgeable about where to book. We just booked, yes. So here's some considerations.
Well, like me, I'm a senior, I'm a Florida resident, I get a discount. It's a good one. I think it's half off.
And it's for residents only.
Right.
So some state parks will offer to residents only. Some state parks offer to any senior 62. Usually it's 62 and older. I think Florida is 65 and older.
Yep.
So you have to check. And if you want me to do a video on that, to like do a little bit of research, because I started looking for this video and these states are all over the place. And my message here for this is to just know if you have a discount. Like Georgia State Parks, they offer a discount to anybody 62 and older. So check it out. Keep in mind that's an option for you.
Now, another thing you can get is get an America the Beautiful pass, a National Park pass, Senior Lifetime pass. If those come in handy, you can get a half off on like national parks unless they're being run by a vendor.
Right. And then
like Grand Canyon.
It doesn't count.
Then it doesn't count.
You pay the full price. But not every, now the Senior Lifetime Pass will get you half off campgrounds. America the Beautiful Pass, it's a little confusing. You have to go there and look, but that one is just for anybody, and it's $80 like a year to get in. And the Senior Lifetime Pass is $80 for the lifetime, and you can get in, like if you're visiting, like we went to Mount Rushmore, and we were able to just get in.
Just drive in.
Yeah, I think we did have to pay a parking pass. So sometimes there's a little bit there. Okay, but anyway, just know that the parking you may have to pay for. Getting those passes are helpful. They also have the military annual pass, which is free, a volunteer pass, which I didn't know about. If you volunteer, I think it's like $250, but there's an amount of hours in national parks you can get a volunteer pass. There's an access pass that's free for anyone with disabilities, with a permanent disability, and the 4th grade pass for 4th graders.
So there's lots of different types of passes and things that you can buy to help save money.
Yeah, either on entrance fees and sometimes on campground fees. And let me just throw a plug in here for Army Corps of Engineer parks. This applies to those parks, which we didn't know about when we first started. Boy, when I found out about that, it was exciting. And Army Corps parks, we need to do a video on Army Corps parks. But if you want us to do a video on Army Corps parks, drop that. We've been to a lot.
Another item that you're going to have to think about, especially if you're full-timing, and there's a lot of blogs on this one, is mail service. How do you do your mail service? Some of them involve prescription service too, if you're a senior. Where do you get your mail sent? How do you get your mail? Well, there are mail services out there. There's numerous mail services out there. We have a mail service that I use, and the cost of that is going to vary depending on the type of service that you want. Some of the mail services have different tiers of service available, but the mail service that we use, it works well for me. It'll ship my medications to wherever I'm at, or general delivery them to a post office if possible, or to a family member if I'm going to be in and around a family member, which is what I generally try to do for my prescriptions.
How will you get your mail? That's a consideration, and there may be a cost involved with that. Also, packages. How will things be mailed to you? If you are staying at Army Corps parks and state parks primarily, they usually, I haven't seen one yet that will accept your package. Private parks will usually accept your package. So if we are going to be at a park long enough to have something mailed, if we needed something mailed, then we'll ask first, always ask, and have our packages mail there. You can also have your packages mail general delivery, but Amazon does not tell you how they're sending things, so you can't do Amazon that way. But we always look for Amazon drop boxes, which are, if you're around, I mean, we've even found them in smaller towns. They're not everywhere, but if you have an Amazon order that you need, kind of look ahead where you'll be going and see if there's an Amazon drop box. But,
or Amazon locker.
Or, yeah, Amazon locker they're called. Yeah, an Amazon locker. And those are really easy to use, and that's how we get packages. But this is another consideration. That doesn't cost extra, but it does if it goes through mail service, and you have to pay to have it sent to you wherever.
Yes. You just have to plan ahead. I'm going to be here. Do I have enough time to get it shipped there?
And speaking of prescriptions, as Mr. D was talking about, before you start RVing full-time, check with your health insurance and make sure that you're going to be okay. You're going to be covered as you travel around the United States of America, or international if you go international, because not all insurances will cover. So that's something to check on and make sure that you've got coverage in case something happens. Now, I think emergency services are usually covered wherever you are. Don't quote me on that, but just make sure you have the coverage that will cover you while you're traveling. So as we're wrapping up our series on RV retirement, RV life, here are some things that you need to budget for and you need to remember and know about. And I want to add one more, because as you can see, this is usually the time we're in Florida, but this is not Florida. I am in Colorado because we had a family emergency here and I needed to come out here and be with family. Everything is okay. There's nothing, it's all good. I just need to be here to help. And Gary is still in Florida. So that's another thing we want to add. And we have had, but as we sat down to make our list, we hadn't had an emergency for a while, so it just slipped our mind. So emergencies, they are going to happen. So when we talked about repairs, we talked about RV emergencies that might happen to you, or with your toad or your generator or something inside your RV. However, this time I'm referring to life emergencies. We've had deaths in the family, very sadly, that we had to alter our plans for. We have had a dental emergency. We've had a medical emergency. We've had a situation where we needed to get home quickly because it was another family emergency and we had to alter our plans. So emergencies are going to happen. They happen in your sticks and bricks. It's just life. If you have a family and friends and loved ones, there's going to be these situations that come up that you may have to be present for. So here are some things you need to know about emergencies. And I did a whole video on this that you can check out. I think it's here, but it might be here. The title of that video is RV Life, Save Money When an Emergency Happens. So you can check that video out where I talk a little bit more in depth about this, but I'll just give you a few things that we've learned in our years of full-time RV living and RV travel regarding emergencies. First and foremost, know what to do. If an emergency comes up, have some type of plan. What happens if you need to pack up and go? Have you checked your cancellation policies? What about your campsites going forward? Know those policies because that matters. And as soon as you know what you're doing, start canceling or modifying those plans. I advise you to modify. Usually you can modify with just a small fee if you think that you might make it. But know your policies because every state park is different. Every private park is different. And sometimes you're just out of luck. I try not to book if it says no refunds, no cancellations, no modifications. And there are parks like that. And that's because people take advantage and they don't let them know. And so parks lose money. Start right away. How can I change this? Know what to do. Know what your partner does. If you have to split up, because sometimes it's not always feasible to go across the country in your RV to get home in time for an emergency or get somewhere in time for an emergency. And one of you has to stay behind with the RV and one of you flies out, travels out. So when that happens, have a plan. Know what your partner does. Follow them around. Hey, what you doing now? What you doing now? Mr. D will tell you that I'm always asking questions because this did happen to us. We had a family emergency and he did have to leave me and I had to know what to do. So that's important. Have a budget for this. As we've shared with all of these different things that you may not have considered, have it in your budget. Have an emergency budget because like coming out here, I had to very quickly fly out to Colorado, from Florida to Colorado. So have a plan for that. Have that in your budget so that when and if it does happen, you won't be like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And this is really important. This has been a bonus for us so many times when we've had an RV breakdown or Gary had a dental emergency, we had an illness in the family, these different things have come up. When you plan your travel, and we recommend RV Life Pro, we're affiliates, and you can get a discount by using the discount down below. I'll link it below. But have some slack built in. So we have met people that they're going to Florida in a day from up north, or they're going out west in 3 days. So their plan is to drive. And if you book yourself out and you have reservations at these places and anything happens, you have zero slack, or you're driving 24 hours, and who wants to do that? So whether you're retired or working, whatever you do, plan we will plan 2 to 3 days to a week at a private park when we're traveling. And those are great days that if we need to switch, we can. Even state parks, you can modify those dates and get to your destination, your emergency destination quicker. So in other words, instead of it taking us 3 days to get out west, it takes us about 2 months to get out west. And that's a little quicker than I would like. But if we had to, we could cut back, and we've had to do this, and then travel a day or two, instead of like 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days like we typically do. So build in a little wiggle room so you're not so constrained, and if anything comes up, you're stuck. You can't get from point A to point B. I can't get to my reservations out there at the Grand Canyon trailer village. I cannot do that if I'm planning just 3 days to travel out there. I don't know if 3 days is realistic. I know it takes about 3 days in a car, but probably an RV, maybe 4 or 5 days. But you know what I'm saying? Stretch it out. Have some built-in days for those emergencies. That is our biggest tip because we have had to utilize that so many times. And know your policies, modifications, cancellations, know those. So check out our playlist for this series. There's 4 videos there. How much we spent in 2024. What are some recurring costs that usually are must-haves that you might not have thought about? What about those RV repairs, generator repairs, and your tow or towed vehicle repairs? And then today's video. So that playlist will be linked below as well. Now I have a question for you. RVers, because I know that we have RVers watching this channel. So share your knowledge, share your information. We have a very great community that likes to share other tips and tricks, and this is what happened to us. So RVers, drop in the comments for anyone who's thinking about RV life, or for all of us, for each other, so that we can learn. That might not have been something we thought about. These videos aren't comprehensive, and I'm sure there's much more, and there's probably some things that we've forgotten about or overlooked. So drop in the comments and share your knowledge. And if you're thinking about RV life, ask a question. What's your pressing question regarding full-time RV life? Drop in the comments below. And until next time, this is Sharon from Colorado. Gary's there in Florida with the two Ruffs, with Tara and Luna. Missing me, I'm sure. Safe travels. Hope to see you on the road sometime. Take care. Goodbye.